It's me, Jessica Viva, and everyone talks about this, and I always wanted to add my 2 cents and my opinions. So today we're going to be talking about the Big Free privilege. If you don't know what the Big Free privilege is, I'm just going to sum it up for you. So I think there can be quite a few definitions for the Big Free privilege, but I think the most unanimously agreed on one, if that makes sense, is that artists from the Big Three, meaning JYP, YG, and SM, have a privilege when it comes to success and popularity. So because they're in the Big Three, they are automatically guaranteed success in this definition. So do I agree with this? And I'd say to a certain extent. And I'm going to explain why I agree to a certain extent. So I always see people who are JYP stans, YG stans, and they are stans just of the label, which I don't have a problem with, you do you. So before a group even debuts, they already have a big following and people already saying, oh, I'm going to stan them just because they're in JYP and I'm a JYP stan. I don't really have a problem with it. It's not really my kind of thing, but honestly, I don't really care about what group or label comes from as long as their music is good, So I think that is a privilege in the sense of exposure and popularity. And you always see people talking about, oh, I wonder what the new JYP girl group's going to be, or the new SM girl group, or the new YG boy group, or whatever. People are always talking about the Big Three's new boy groups. So just in that sense, I do think there is a privilege because people are always anticipating stuff that comes from the Big Three, and people will start to stan stuff just because they're in a certain label. So I do think there is a privilege in that sense. However, I always see that people will put down Big Three groups just because of the Big Three privilege, but here's the thing, groups that come from the Big Three work just as hard as other people from smaller companies. And yes, they may have a certain exposure when they debut, but they need to keep on working to make fans want to stay. Sure, you can say, oh, I'm gonna stan this group when it comes out, but if the songs are shit and if they're not working hard enough, then no one's gonna stan them. And that's the thing. So people really need to stop discrediting Big Three artists' work because they deserve to be there just as much as everyone else because they still worked hard to get their place. So now I want to talk about financial privilege, and I think this is pretty much unanimously agreed on, or I feel like people would unanimously agree on this, but I feel like Big Three does have a privilege when it comes to higher budget music videos. Let's just look at an example. This is Hello Venus's music video called Wiggle Wiggle, and they are under Fantiago, who, in my opinion, are quite a small company. I really like this song, and I love most of Hello Venus's discography, but I'm not gonna lie, I thought the MV was really, really cheap. To me, it literally just looks like they're dancing in an empty club. Honestly, there is literally no budget on this or on their outfits, but the thing that is really iconic to me is that despite the lack of budget and production value, they still made this song iconic, and they are gorgeous, and the way they perform it, they are just sexy, and oh, I love them. And now I'm going to compare it to Girls' Generation's Run Devil Run because I thought it was the most comparable to this music video. Now, I don't really think these songs are exactly the same, obviously not, but in terms of the vibe of the music video, it's very simple, and it's a dance music video, and they're both going for a sexy kind of concept, so I thought that these were the most comparable in that sense. So comparing it to Hello Venus's music video from before, even though the set is very simple, you can tell that it's just got a way higher budget and it just looks more expensive, and you can tell that the set was made for SNSD. It's not just some random dance studio or some club that they just went into dancing. No, this is a set that was made for them. And the outfits as well, while very simple, they just look way more expensive, if that makes sense. Obviously, I don't know the budget of this music video, but I can definitely presume that it was a lot higher than Hello Venus's because of the Big Three financial privilege. So in the sense of financially, I do think the Big Three have a privilege. However, so before 2016, I feel like the Big Three privilege was very strong, but in 2019, I feel like it's gradually getting weaker. We live in an age where social media is just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and K-pop is becoming a global phenomenon. And any group can become big now, and they don't have to belong to the Big Three. Look at BTS, Momoland, and many more. So many groups from smaller companies are becoming bigger and bigger, and that is thanks to K-pop blowing up like it did. The K-pop fandom is just getting bigger and bigger, so that just means more exposure for smaller groups, and at this point people are starting to care less about the label and more about the group and the music, which I think is a good step to go in. There's always going to be people who stan a group just because they're from YG or SM, and power to them, but there's just such a blow up in smaller groups. So while big three groups do have exposure and popularity, it's just anyone's game right now. Literally anyone can become popular. Like, there are just so many groups that you can name that came out of nowhere that became somebody. So that's what I think. And then I also asked you guys on my Instagram on your opinions on the big three, and I'm gonna read out what some of you guys had to say. One person said, big three privilege is only a thing if the CEO likes a specific member of the group, or I would take it further to say the group. I kind of agree with this, and then I kind of don't. I feel like a lot of the big three artists that have been swept under the rug have a certain style that isn't really appealable to a big audience who are into like mainstream K-pop, and I think the artists that do get swept under the rug do have like different types of sound, so I do think that's kind of why they are slept on. But I still think it's very interesting how not many artists from big three actually do well as people like to think. But like, what's gross is that people send the idols that get favored hate because they're being favored. Like, it's literally not their fault, it's literally the entertainment's fault for being a dick. So like, yeah, less of the hating, please. Sam. This person said they do in a sense of promotions equipment, but they have to work harder because it's more competitive. And it's a fat agree from me. Like, there are just so many examples of smaller groups giving big groups from the big three like a run for their money. So I really encourage healthy competition, and I always look forward to seeing what smaller groups have to offer. Someone said, I think the big three privilege exists business-wise, but being in the big three won't guarantee immediate success and will get you free of any scandals. I think you'll be more likely of getting shit if you're an artist from the big three. Now, with the scandal thing, I will only agree with it if it's about girl groups, because for me, at least, I only ever see boy groups getting forgiven and girl groups getting lynch mobbed, even though they can do similar things or have similar scandals. It's always the boy group that gets forgiven, and it's always the girl that gets lynch mobbed. So that really frustrates me, but that's like a topic for a whole nother video. And yeah, I guess I'm just that feminist queen. I obviously don't want to name any names because I can't be bothered for another fandom coming at me. But like, boy groups will get backlash for maybe a few days or a week at the max, but it's always forgotten about. But whenever a girl group gets tiny bit of success or just in the spotlight, all of their scandals get flushed back and you're like, oh, you like this person? Like, no, you can't like this person. They did this 7 years ago, which isn't even proved to be real, but like, you know, they did this and like they said something that like they might have said in a fan meet, but like this one person from a fan meet said they said it, so that means it has to be true. I don't know, like, I just love girls, and this whole double standard thing, it really bugs me out. Like, no one's perfect, I get that, but like, it's just so annoying how like a boy group can have maybe the exact same or similar type of scandal to a girl and get forgiven immediately, but a girl group has to live with it for her entire career, even though they may be innocent. Like, this is another video topic, but you guys get the gist. And I'm gonna end it there, guys. I hope that people made it through the entire video instead of watching it for 1 second and commenting. You guys do that a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Tell me what other content you guys want me to see. I love you guys, and I would really appreciate it if you sub to my second channel, which is Pokemon, anime, and whatever I want related. Please support me, Juiceo. Karibu tings. Okay, bye now. Love you.